Welcome to Silverstone for the latest encounter of the BRSCC National Formula Ford Championship with Avon Tyres. It's been a fantastic season so far. Ross Martin currently leads the championship, followed by Spike Kohlbecker. But this weekend we've got some new faces and old faces. Joey Foster, Michael Moyers and also Mike Eastwell joining us this weekend. All very talented drivers, all capable of winning.
So the cars now make their way onto the grid here at Silverstone on the national circuit. This is very much a warm-up for the Walter Hayes Trophy and a key weekend of the championship. And Michael Eastwell starts on pole position with Jonathan Brown alongside him on the front row. Welcome back to Michael Moyers and championship contender Ross Martin on row 2. James Clark and Joe Foster from Thomas Capazone on row 4. And Tom MacArthur and Michael McPherson, Jamie Sharp and Henry Chart, and Morgan Quinn and John Svensson. Looking down the rest of the grid, Pascal Monbaron on the grid as well, and then with Nigel Dolan, Adam Quartermain, Sam Street and Rory Smith starting from towards the back of the grid. So here we are then for the first 15 minutes of action here at Silverstone on the national circuit. Let's see who can come out on top as the revs rise and race number 1 is set to get underway. Plenty of onboard cameras as we get set for action on the national circuit. Lights out and we are racing here at Silverstone. And here is the onboard shot from Ross Martin as they head up towards turn 1 for the first time. Brown looks as though he'll get the whole shot from Eastwell in second place, so he's managed to pick up pole position after starting on the inside of row 1. This is on board with James Clark as he runs wide at Copse on the sprint down towards Maggots and Beckett. There's one car to our right, can't quite see who it is, so they head down under brakes. It's Ross Martin, so into Maggots and Beckett under the sunshine here for the first time as they pile in. And the field makes its way through, and there towards the back is John Svensson. And he's battling away with another one of the cars, Pascal Monbaron, who's one of the Cliff Dempsey extra chassis. It was John Svensson in that car last time at Kyrgyzstan, but Pascal Monbaron has picked it up instead. This is James Clark going wheel to wheel with Ross Martin as round the outside looks Michael Eastwell. Michael Moyers watches on in third position. And this is Spike Kohlbecker. And on the left there is double festival champion Joey Foster back in the championship this weekend. And he's also scrapping away after a brilliant start with championship contender and championship leader Ross Martin. So out of the first few corners they go then, out onto the end of lap number 1. There's Joey Foster going round the outside of Spike Kohlbecker as they head down the pit straight towards Copse Corner to start lap 2. We're on board with Kohlbecker, looking at the back of Joey Foster as Ross Martin turns his way in 5th position. And now we see that Jonathan Brown coming under threat, not just from the Spectrum chassis in front, but the car behind, because Michael Eastwell is in front, Michael Moyers is behind, and they're both trying to overthrow Jonathan Brown as they head into the braking zone. Going round the outside goes Joey Foster, battling away with James Clark as they head out through Maggots and Beckett and onto the Wellington Straight for the second time. This long train of Formula Fords. And here's Rory Smith. He started towards the back of the field. He's already onto the tail of Pascal Monbaron. Looking to the outside of the Swiss drivers. They come down towards Brooklands. And again, it's 2x2 into the left-hander. All this long left-hander up towards Luffield, which arcs its way around back onto the pit straight. Spike Kohlbecker now battling away. That thing that might be Joe Foster on his outside as Kohlbecker fights for a track position. Jonathan Brown's on the outside of Michael Moyers, who may have track position. They go side by side on the sprint through Woodcote Corner. And Michael Moyers does get his nose in front. That means now it is a Kevin Mills Spectrum 1-2 with Eastwell leading and Moyers in second place. Here comes Joey Foster up the inside for third place, but Brown's got the momentum. Round the outside goes the Irishman. So the man from Cornwall will have to hold on for the moment in 4th place. Back on board with James Clark. He's now still looking at the back of Joey Foster's Furman chassis. Good to see that car back out. But last time we saw it, it was back at the festival. And it looks that it's Joey's first appearance of the season, and certainly trying to make the most of it as he tries to prepare not just for the Walter Hayes Trophy, but also for the Formula Ford Festival next month. Here's Ross Martin looking for third place, looking to the inside line as he now darts around the back of what looks to be James Clark as they head into Brooklands once more. And that was a scrap for 5th place, forgive me. So that's now Ross Martin now being assaulted from all sides. He's got Kohlbecker behind him. We're now riding on board with the American. He tags the back of Ross Martin. I don't think the Scotsman will appreciate that one. That's the two main championship contenders making a little bit of contact, and they're side by side through Woodcote. Tom MacArthur's in there as well on one of the BM Racing chassis. They head up through Woodcote and down the pit straight once again to end another lap. It's the view from Jamie Sharp, one of Ross Martin's Team Dolan teammates. That's Thomas Capazone in the Swift chassis, the Frenchman. Good to see a few more European drivers in this race here at Silverstone. That's a bit of bodywork coming off. That was either from Ross Martin or Tom MacArthur, and luckily Jamie Sharp didn't get clipped by it. So I think that was a bit of a saving grace as they head back into Maggots and Beckett's. Lock up from Foster on the outside into the right-hander, which arcs around onto the Wellington Straight. And now Ross Martin coming a little bit of pressure. That's Joey Foster off the left-hand side. So Joey Foster with engine problems. The Furman chassis is off the road. And sadly looks though that might be his race done and dusted already before it's even got to half distance. Lots of battling in the midfield as they come back into Brooklands once again, and that was Tom MacArthur that lost the sort of piece of the nose section that covers the front suspension or the front shocks. Now this is Jamie Sharp still battling away with Thomas Capazone. So here's the top three. Eastwell from Moyers, then from Jonathan Brown. James Clark is fourth. There is Ross Martin. Now it is feasible for him to win the championship this weekend. He just needs results to go his way, and he could leave Silverstone with the national title wrapped up and meeting early before they head to Brands Hatch in a couple of weeks' time. And here is the fight further down at the bottom of the top 10. There is Michael McPherson battling away with Jamie Sharp. So Jamie Sharp's lost another place. He might lose one more because Rory Smith's charging to his outside on the sprint down towards Maggots and Beckett's under braking. Under quite unseasonal blazing sunshine here at Silverstone in September. So it's not very much autumnal weather, more like late summer in many cases. Rory Smith grabs another gear down the Wellington Straight. Everyone in the tow down towards Brooklands. It's this long drag under the bridge. And watching in front, McPherson's trying to put a move on Capazone by the looks of things, but also watch for MacArthur going down the outside line to hold on. Jamie Sharp goes around the outside of one, maybe two. He's gone past McPherson. We'll have the inside line for Capazone. Is there going to be contact? A little bit of a twitch of oversteer from Jamie Sharp, but he holds on for the moment. So whilst that battle goes on in the midfield, here is the scrap for the lead with two Kevin Mills cars. Michael Eastwell from Michael Moyers, but is that a little bit of smoke or a little bit of mist from the back end of Moyers' car? I'm not sure whether it's a bit of oil or not. Either way, they head up through Copse Corner again. This is the scrap for fourth going on between James Clark and Ross Martin. And here he's on board with Ross, of course, champion-elect. He's had quite a few victories this season. He would love to wrap up the title this weekend if possible, but it's going to be quite a task if he's going to manage it. So through Maggots and Beckett's again. There's the Furman chassis of Joey Foster off to the left with engine problems, so unfortunately he will have to start race 2 from the back of the grid. This is Rory Smith, a quick glance across from Jamie Sharp. That's where Rory is, and now he's pointing to Jamie Sharp. Look, don't fight me, let me through, and let's work together to catch the cars in front. So the two Kevin Mills cars, being careful not to swap places. Still a little bit of, looks to be mist or some steam or smoke out the back of Michael Eastwell's car. I'm not quite sure what that is. Hopefully it's nothing too serious, but it certainly isn't affecting his pace too much as they come through Woodcote once again. There is Moyers, double Walter Hayes Trophy winner. He'd certainly like to make it 3 this year if he can, although he's using this as a bit of a warm-up before the event in the beginning of November. But it's good to see him back on the National Formula Ford grid and battling away with his teammate Michael Eastwell, his first race back in National Formula Fords on British shores. And we now see Jamie Sharp with Rory Smith in front. They're bump drafting again, so they are starting to try and work together. So Rory Smith's hand gesturing seems to have given Jamie Sharp the message. Just further back, I just saw Morgan Quinn and Aaron Jeanson, the American, battling over position outside the top 10 into Maggots and Beckett's, but Quinn's kept the place. And this is the view from Jamie Sharp, of course, ex-British F4 driver for a couple of seasons. He stepped back into Formula Ford, and certainly learning his craft here. As a change for the lead into Brooklands, Eastwell has lost the lead to Michael Moyers, who's run very wide on the exit of Brooklands, and back through goes not only Michael Eastwell, but also I think Jonathan Brown too. So watch for that. Yes, they have. So Eastwell back to the front, Brown second. It's now Moyers back down to third after that mistake, and now he's coming into the clutches of Ross Martin as they come through Woodcote Corner. And that was Ross Martin. I think there's that bit of oil on the back of the from the back of Moyers' car onto the camera lens of Ross Martin's car. Whatever it is, a little bit misty on the onboard camera from Martin as he looks to the outside line, carrying the momentum through Copse Corner. And now this also gives a chance for James Clark to get involved too. We're on board with him, 5th position. It's side by side for 3rd. Martin goes down the outside into the right. He's going for 3rd. He's going for 2nd round the outside of Jonathan Brown if he can make it. He's going for it round the outside, runs out wide, slots back into 3rd place behind the number 122 of Jonathan Brown. And they're both trying to set up Eastwell down towards Brooklands. It could be 3 abreast under brakes as they come back past the BRDC grandstand. Side by side for 2nd. Martin's up the inside of Brown, but the next corner is a right-hander, which will give Brown the inside line if he can hold on. Eastwell. This is now Kohlbecker watching that battle. He's back in 5th position, watching these two scrap over 3rd. And again, they're wheel to wheel for the 2nd lap in succession. Martin again sweeps in front of Jonathan Brown, but now the Irishman has both of his teammates backing him up down the pit straight. The 3 Cliff Dempsey cars are in a line, and just behind them you saw a glimpse there of Rory Smith. He's in 7th place. He's caught up to the train here. He's broken away from that scrap from 8th place downwards, and he's now right onto the tail of the half dozen battling over the lead and the podium. Back with Spike Kohlbecker under the sunshine, watching James Clark looking down the outside line of what would be Ross Martin for third position. He looks round the outside of the Scotsman. The two Kevin Mills cars currently have this race under control at the moment. They head out of Maggots and Beckett's down the back straight. Kohlbecker in the slipstream. Does he give a bit of a bump draft to his teammates? He does. Latches onto the rear of James Clark, but we saw back at Kyrgyzstan, you get the bump draft wrong and you can send a car spinning, so you've got to be careful as Martin shows his nose up the inside for second place on Moyers. The three Cliff Dempsey cars are going into combat. In fact, one of them's been picked off already by Rory Smith. I think that must have been Kohlbecker. So that's now Rory Smith up to 6th position. His now next target is going to be, no, it was James Clark in fact, so James Clark has lost out, so Spike Kohlbecker is the next target for Rory Smith. Up through Woodcote again, down the pit straight. 7 of them all together. The battle behind is also going on between Tom MacArthur and Jamie Sharpers. Up the inside, look to Smith for 5th position. It's a cracking first race of the weekend so far. Still a little bit of mist or something coming out the back of Michael Eastwell's car. I'm not sure if it's... Or Michael Moyers, forgive me. Michael Moyers has got the mist coming out the back of his Spectrum chassis, but Eastwell still leads somehow from all the melee behind him. 3rd place again as once more Marston and Brown go side by side. Martin's keeps his line. Brown's all over the curbs on the exit, and now we've got the view from Rory Smith. He's in the tow. The next target is going to be Spike Kohlbecker. This will be to take 5th position, then fanning out once again on the brakes down towards Brooklands. Looking down the outside goes Spike Kohlbecker. Ross Martin, number 2 championship contender. There's a wheel-to-wheel on the exit. He has the inside line for Luffield. Smith likewise tries to get up the inside of Brown. They all drift wide. There's a bit of contact between the top 2 in the championship. Kohlbecker's muscled his way through. He loses 1 position. Martin White leads a 2nd if Brown can get the tow through Woodcote Corner, which he does. Martin's being hung out to dry on the inside line, and here comes Rory Smith. They're going to make it 3 abreast down the pit straight. Up against the pit wall, down the inside. It's now going to be Smith, Jonathan Brown and Ross Martin. Martin goes round the outside of Ross Martin. That goes round the outside of Rory Smith. I'm getting confused here. Rory Smith then holds on to the position. He's battling away with James Clark. They come back down towards Maggots and Beckett's as the top 2. Both of the Kevin Mills cars are starting to check out at the front here. They come back out through Maggots and Beckett's once again. And also look at Tom MacArthur in the white and orange car. He's joining in the battle to make it an 8-car fight for the lead. Back with Smith, down the Wellington straight towards Brooklands once more. Top 2 look relatively safe, but it's action stations for 3rd. The 3 Cliff Dempsey cars swarming all around championship leader Ross Martin. Smith in the mix as well. Tom MacArthur's on the back of this train now. He's managed to catch up thanks to all the fighting. And Smith now looks for a move. Here comes the BM racing car. His teammate right behind him for a bit of backup. And the leading Cliff Dempsey car is now Spike Kohlbecker as he comes down the pit straight. He's now 3rd. It is now Jonathan Brown in 4th. And here comes Rory Smith up the inside of James Clark. That will be for 6th position. But again, Clark's got the momentum around the outside. Coming up to the last couple of laps, very wide is James Clark, so he tried to carry way too much speed into the corner. That might be a bit of an abuse of track limits there, so Rory Smith will have to be careful he doesn't get too close to him. A little wiggle under brakes from Clark as he gets the car stopped for Maggots and Beckett's. Now up onto the Wellington straight once again. The top 2 look safe at the moment. They're in team formation. Eastwell ahead of Moyers, but let's see if the Cliff Dempsey cars or Ross Martin or Rory Smith have anything to say about that. They're back down towards Brooklands. That's Ross Martin putting the pressure on Jonathan Brown for 4th position. But Brown slots in behind his teammate in 3rd. And Kohlbecker has now caught the tail of Michael Moyers into Luffield. They're going to come up to what I think should be the last lap very time soon. Out of the final couple of corners and onto the pit straight, I think, to start the last lap of the race. If we get the last lap board coming past the pits. We do, I think. And down into the right-hander at Copse Corner. There's still plenty of action here as they come into the right-hander on the start of the last lap of the race. This is now Jamie Sharp, and he's going to try and get around Tom MacArthur, who's struggling. So Tom MacArthur with a problem. And they come back down towards Maggots and Beckett's, but the leaders into Maggots and Beckett's for the final time. And Michael Eastwell trying to hold on here with Moyers in 2nd place. It is still Spike Kohlbecker in 3rd, but both Brown and Martin might have something up their sleeve here. It's one final run down the back straight towards the complex for the last time, and it's side by side between the 2 leaders. Moyers looks for the lead down the outside line, but if he's not careful, he might be under threat from the 4 cars behind him. They head into Brooklands together, and I think Eastwell might have done just about enough. That's now, I think that's possibly Martin with Brown to his inside as they come round the final couple of corners. But out of Luffield through Woodcote for the last time. It's going to be joy for Kevin Mills, because Eastwell did this at Kirkistown. He's going to do it again at Silverstone. He takes the checkered flag and wins the first race of the weekend here at Silverstone in a threading opening race here at the home of British Motorsport. Eastwell wins, Moyes second, Kohlbecker third, then Brown, Martin, Clark, Smith, Sharp, McPherson and Capazone round out the top 10, with Smith getting the fastest lap. Then Quinn, Chart, Monbaron, Svensson, Dolan and then Quartermain and Street rounding out the finishers. A brilliant first race, and there's still 2 more to go this weekend.